Georgia throttles Missouri 34-0. Georgia's first win over a ranked team on the road since 2011. Missouri has not beaten a back-to-back ranked team, and as long as I could count. There's a lot of different things that you could talk about from today's perspective. Hudson Mason played outstanding with the exception of one grounding call. He really did play well. Threw one ball up for grabs, but boy, Hudson played great. Nick Chubb filled in for Todd Gurley, 143 yards. Georgia wasn't super explosive, but they were as methodical and as nasty as I've seen on the ground as they've been the whole year. I mean, it was just impressive. But I mean, I thought the defense was the reason they won the game. I mean, obviously, whenever you have a shutout, that's the reason that you win. But it was the whole team today. I thought for a second there that Georgia was going to sort of let Mizzou stick around into this thing, and that would have been a mistake because Josh Kendall, and I talk a lot. He really thought Missouri was bad, and I should have. I mean, I think most of the time when we talk and we think South Carolina's not good, okay, Missouri's not good, okay, but that doesn't mean in a one-game scenario something strange can't happen. Georgia's clearly, I mean, unless you're talking about Kentucky, Georgia's clearly the best team in the East. Now they just got to figure out how to get to Atlanta without Todd because I don't know anything. It's so strange because people I think that know what's going on, or they sort of should, people that are Georgia people that normally know stuff, they legitimately don't know what's happening here. If this team gets Todd Gurley back, I don't think there should be anything other than the expectation to win the SEC championship. If they don't get him back, then they're going to have to grind to win the East, but they still should win the East. But this defense, if they play like this from here on out, it's going to be tough for the Gators to score on them. It's going to be tough for the Kitty Cats to score on them. I mean, they killed Matty Mock, who really is not great. I get that. But 147 total yards of offense for Missouri. They had 10 first downs. I mean, I bet Nick Chubb had almost 5 first downs by himself. This was a bloodletting. It was bad. Georgia had the ball for 42 minutes. This is Georgia football now. They're just not scoring at an explosive pace because Todd's not out there and Sony's not out there. Well, guess what? Sony's coming back. So he'll be back out there. Malcolm Mitchell, Georgia started going with their quick pass game. Again, Hudson with a beautiful pass for a touchdown to Michael Bennett. This is as good as Georgia has played collectively in some time, but we have seen now that this group, this team, can really put it together. I mean, I thought they really put it together against Clemson for the whole game. Excuse me, for the second half. I mean, that was just nasty. Now we've seen a whole game against Missouri. Now, they're not going to play like this all the time. I get that. They left some points on the board offensively. This could have easily been a 48-0 game. The offense is going to score. Mike Bobo understands how to put the ball in the end zone. If the defense plays like this, I'm going to be honest, I don't know who can beat them in the SEC. And that's not hyperbole. That's being serious. I mean, if they play like this, the defense, it's going to be hard for people to move the ball on them. And Jordan Jenkins was pissed off after this game. Hudson Mason was pissed off, but Jordan was pissed off. And he basically was saying, we listened to a lot of people say what we couldn't do. And it was really basically challenging their manhood. And the defense said, y'all are acting like we can't do anything. There are some things to clean up. I mean, I think Isaiah McKenzie's got to possess the ball a little bit better on these punt return, or just again with these punt receptions. I mean, that's nuts. Beyond that, it's hard to argue that there was a problem in any way. Okay, so which means that people, I guess, are going to expect for Georgia to go to Arkansas and just absolutely thrash the Hogs. That's not going to be reality either. But I do think that they'll probably win that game. And then the Florida game, as usual, will be, even if they do lose to Arkansas, Florida game will be for the East. Because the Gators will get it together too. I mean, they've only got one loss so far when I'm taping this. They play LSU tonight. But Georgia belongs in Atlanta. Now they got to earn their way there. and it was a nasty little game out there today. That was a beating. A beating. If I were Missouri, I'd be wondering where I'm going right now because that was nasty. They're not out of the race, but Georgia is in control. Their only loss is to the team. I mean, Missouri still needs Georgia to lose once. South Carolina needs Georgia to lose at least 2 more times, which is possible. But then those 2 teams got to stay completely clean. Kentucky is a team that you sit there and you look at and you're like, okay, it's Kentucky, but they are better and they'll give Georgia a hard time in Lexington because I know how that game will be. It's the week after Florida and the week before Auburn. That's not going to be a pretty game. But on today, I mean, if you love Georgia, you should have enjoyed every second of that game. And if you didn't, you got problems. There's something wrong with you because that's as good as it gets right there. Mark Richt and company, I mean, that's how you do it. And it's sports are never that easy. And they made it hard on themselves at times. But if you got a problem with what you saw today, you need to get a life because a 34-0 throttling is putting Missouri in their place, and secondly, telling the rest of the country, first, how in the world are you ranking Arizona in front of us? A, and then B, this team is probably the best team in the East, and nobody's going to take them seriously, and I get that. That's fine because they're not in the West, but they get their chance to play the Western schools coming up, and we'll just see. Georgia's season is definitely not over, but they are going to have to play like this from here on out. They are going to have Sony Michel back for sure. But damn, Nick Chubb, 38 carries. That's more than they had rushes last week against Vanderbilt, Wes. And only 1 fewer than they had against South Carolina. Whew. Georgia wins 34-0. Long drive. My last thought about this is exhausting that Missouri is in the East. This is way too far out here to be. I mean, this is just nuts. But 34-0 for Georgia. A decisive, nasty victory. Defense played unbelievable. Nick Chubb did the job. Hudson Mason played well. I mean, maybe this is Georgia from here on out. Not that bad if it is. So Dean Legge signing off from Farrat Field in Columbia, Missouri.